Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. You're watching Much Ado About Something. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been around for a while and you're a subscriber or you've been watching my videos, welcome back. On that note, I'd like to remind you to subscribe, like, and to share if you enjoy this kind of thing. Well, it has been raining a lot. It's been just pouring down. Yesterday it rained all day and most of the night. I'm catching a break here in between the rain showers to be able to walk out here and show you the garden. There's a lot that's blooming season's over. And you know I love every stage of the garden. It doesn't matter if it's the end stage or the beginning. I love every stage of it. But we're going to go out here and just see what's going on after all this rain. They're calling for more rain, so we've just got a little break in the rain. But we're going to step out here outside and we're going to see what's going on in these gardens today. I'm going to show you this sign. Plant a garden and feed a rabbit. And that is so true, and I'll show you why. I have noticed a little rabbit out here in the garden hopping around. And he's nibbled off this flower here. This gazania. He has just nibbled this thing off to where it's down to the ground. And right here you can see where his little body was, where he was laying. It's a little rabbit indentation. And then I've got some bugs nibbling too. Now there are plenty of things that are winding up their blooming season. And there are plenty of things that are just starting their blooming season. That's how we like it, to try to keep something blooming all the time. Now these foxgloves, there's a few left on there, but not many. We can tell they're coming to the end, and I can see where the rain has bent some of those smaller ones down and maybe broke them off. But I see the seeds forming here, and that's a good thing. Now I'll leave these stalks with these seeds that are forming right here up here until they dry off. And then I'll cut them and save the seeds and plant them and give them to friends so they can grow some foxglove in their garden next year. You can see the rain on the foxglove. Just getting out here and catching everything right after the rain. It was a really hot day. It was 95-degree weather. And then we had all this rain, so it's causing a little bit of garden discomfort. Well, we do have an echinacea that finally bloomed, busted out in bloom, and a lot more buds coming on there. It's the purple echinacea. The roses are spent, the climbing roses. They were beautiful this year, and they certainly showed out for quite a few weeks, so I'm not complaining about that. I will get out here and deadhead some of these roses and catch them and make sure I bag them up and throw them away because, you know, I had black spot and I've been trying to battle that. And I don't want a bunch of dead debris down around the roses. So I'll be out here working on those soon. And the garden work day, I'll be clearing off all these dead heads, and I've got quite a few of these climbing roses. We got all the leaf mulch out. Donald's trailer's clean. He got that done just in time, and then the bottom fell out and it just poured rain. Now these lilies, or these Outdoormaryllis as I call them, they're finished blooming this year. Boy, they were magnificent. Their colors were beautiful. I look forward to seeing them again next year. I'm going to deadhead these, and you know, I have plans to separate this bunch of bulbs this year and spread those out into other places. So I'm looking forward in finding places to put those. Ollie's back here today. It's been raining a lot, and he hadn't been coming out of his house. He's just wanting to stay inside. We've got to get him brushed. We've got to get his winter coat off. Now here in this little back garden where the honeysuckle and the wisteria are, ooh, that rain really made that wisteria pop out. We'll have to get out here and trim those new growths off. This one over here is not as bad, but it's got quite a few tendrils growing out there. We'll check on the wheelbarrow. Well, that rain did it good. It's looking good. If you saw the video on Let's Plant a Wheelbarrow, this is it. So the rain didn't hurt it a bit. It still looks really good. But it made the wisteria around it grow tremendously. These are the elderberry in the back. These are 3 years old. And my goodness, look at that one. That one's got a bloom on it this year. So we'll get a little harvest from the back elderberries. Those little roses down here are blooming. Let's check on our little perennial herb garden. I'm going to have to put some stones to walk across here, because I notice I walk from side to side in these herb gardens. That's the Greek oregano that was planted just this year. That's the catnip. Now I've had that a couple of years. I had it growing in a little pot. And the thyme, they look like they're doing good. The lavender's been here for a couple of years, but it's not faring real well right here. But it does have some blooms on it. And the rosemary looks so much better. My goodness, I thought that thing was a goner. But it does look like it's coming back. The comfrey looks good. I've harvested a few leaves of that and am drying it now. I want to make some comfrey salve because of the healing properties in comfrey. That little maple, Japanese maple, still got its little seeds on it, and it looks so cute. Here was a peony. I missed its whole blooming season over here. I've got to get over here more often. That's lemon balm. There's echinacea growing here. This used to be a whole bed of echinacea before these red bugs got bigger. And now it's overgrown over here, so Donald and I are going to have to get out here and get this thing cleaned up. I don't know if I've ever shown you this. This is the little front yard compost bin. It's not real big, and things that are not invasive or that are good for compost goes in this little compost bin. Donald's got some grass clippings in there. And this is a little, it has the bottom out of it, but I plan on putting some mint in this. I didn't want to put mint in without a border because, you know, it's so, mint is so prolific, it'll just take over. But these are the lelands down here at the end of the driveway. That hanging basket is still standing. It's doing well. I still haven't got the bird feeders cleaned up and got them put out this year. I'm a little behind in that department. The blooms on this sage is really pretty. This is a red coneflower. It'll be blooming soon. I think that's beautiful. I love the coneflowers. And of course they're good for the apothecary. Make teas out of. Really good for your immune system, an immune builder. It's trash pickup day today. Got the recycling bin and the trash bin out. It's quiet in the neighborhood, quieter than usual. Hear a lot of birds, but that's about it. Usually there's a lot going on. You hear a lot going on in this city. I think that's so pretty. The blanket flower, I love it. And it'll bloom all the way through the summer. I can see where something's been digging right here. The coxcomb that we planted in the planter still looks good, that bright red. I need to keep that in mind, those big, bright, beautiful colors, things that'll keep their colors. Of course, over here in this bed, all these spaces, when I get in here and get this weeded, I have zinnias started that fills in this space. All these spaces right in here, when I weed and, you know, things that have already passed their blooming, I'll put zinnias all in here, and then those will be really beautiful. Zinnias are a lot of bang for the buck. We'll be planting them in all these spaces here. Now these lilies will be blooming soon, and they're orange. We got these lilies years ago from Donald's grandmother. She used to call them mold plants. I'm not sure why, but maybe they keep away moles, but I've thinned these out over the years. I used to have tons of those, but I pulled some up and thinned them out over the years. We got something blooming here. Well, hello, beautiful purple. That status is looking like it's starting to bloom. Now you can see a little morning glory tucked away in there. Hummingbirds and bees love morning glories. I don't try too hard to eradicate them, though I probably should. But the status is looking like it'll bloom, and Lord, the butterflies, bees, and the hummingbirds love that plant. So I have quite a mound of that. Now these hanging baskets, I'm probably going to have to bring something in and fill those in. I'm not real happy with how they're turning out. They look a little sad, a little sunburned, and a little sad. Got blooms on the front. Elderberry. Where all your blooms are, that's where you can expect to get harvest berries. The berries will be where those blooms are. This little fuchsia that I've got here, the Garden Master Fuchsia, is really pretty. I put it in this little pot because I just love those little blooms, and I wanted to be able to see it, showcase it. Now I have raspberries in here. You can see I've got them planted. I planted them in the backyard, but they hopped all over the yard. And I let these stay here. They've got a few raspberry young berries forming, but we'll never get these. The birds will get these before we do. But the leaf is what I use the most. So I let them grow because I cut the leaf down and I use it to make tea. I dry those leaves and I put them in my tea cabinet. And I really enjoy those. So I keep these raspberry plants around just for their leaves so I can harvest them and make tea out of them. It's the bird bath we got moved over here. There's a little bit of catnip left in the garden. That coleus liked all of the rain. Wow, things have really changed out this way. Now here are the little elderberry starts that we dug up out from the front. And that's what we're going to put around the chicken coop, so that we'll have elderberry bushes growing beside the chicken coop, because there's such good natural antibiotic properties in those elderberry leaves, and the chickens love to eat them, so we're just going to grow them. They can help themselves. We're going to grow them alongside the coop. Now, we did feed the birds a few years back here, and these birds hadn't had food in this feeder this year. They're a little upset about that. I've got one red bird that's digging up all my seeds. I wondered why this tray of seeds wasn't coming up. And then Donald came out here, and there was a red bird in here pecking them up, and this was all askew, so he ate the seeds out of this tray, so I'll probably have to replant. And these tomatoes here, Lordy mercy, they have just really shot up, and I've got to probably get these things divided and put into different little pots, because I know it'll be, at least be 3 or 4 days, maybe a week, before we get our garden set. These are the pumpkins I dug up out of the compost bin and planted, and they've already got blooms on them. My goodness. They have got to get in the ground, or I'll just find somewhere to put those. It is a lot of rain. I had to get these basil out of the water. Their pan filled up with water. It rained so much, and so I've got to get them in some pots or into the ground. Here are the mint roots that we stuck down into these cups, and look at that. The little mints are doing well. Made new little mint plants that we can give away as gifts. These tomatoes haven't came up. I'm still waiting for them to come up, but it looks like a bird's been in these too. So we might get some and we might not. Oh yeah, we've got buds, blooms and stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and pinch these off, because these are not ready to go. You know, we're not ready to have blooms on these things yet. We don't have them in the ground. We don't want them trying to make fruit right now. We got to get these things in the ground. So I'm just going to go ahead and pinch these off. We've got pickling cucumber over here, and these are squash. These are yellow summer squash. These are the zinnias. Of course, I've had a bug eating on the zinnias, so I had to use a little spray on these. These are going out in the front yard. These are the ones I want to plant in those areas that are, you know, being left naked, where some of the things have quit blooming. These are our little garden seeds, the zucchini and the cucumbers and stuff, and Lordy mercy, they're just, they're ready to be in the ground. We've got to get them in the ground. And if we don't get them planted soon, I'll have to put them in a little bit bigger pots until we get all that stuff situated. Now the garden space is going right here. That wood pile there, where Donald cut down trees, we had trees cut down and saved the wood. That most of it's broke down to wood chips. We're going to go through it and get out the big pieces, and we're going to use the wood chips to go down. And this right here, it's not a real big garden space, but it's going to go right there, and it'll be big enough to have, you know, our squash, our cucumbers, and our tomatoes and those kind of things right here. And he'll have to fence that off, you know, to keep Ollie out of it and to keep the grandkids out of it. Because, you know, if you dig up the dirt, they're going to want to play in it. I've got this little tub right here, and I usually plant lettuce in that. And I hadn't got that done yet, so I'll have to clean that out and plant the lettuce. Well, it's time to collect the eggs. Got the seed pods all over the red bud. Some people eat these seed pods like green beans. I'm not partial to them. They're a little tough for me. So I never really eat the seed pods, but I would if I had to eat them, I would eat them. But they're not a favorite. I do like the redbud jelly made from these blooms off of the redbud tree. Look at the heart-shaped leaves of the redbud. Isn't that pretty? Well, I've got a lot of work to do. I got to get ready for the next video so I can have some pretty flowers and plants and things to show you the next tour. Thank you for joining me today, and like always, until next time.